Thank you so much for your company. I'm Bernice Abubeidu Lansa. Now, construction works on a rail for the 97-kilometer Tema in Pakadan single-gauge railway line is progressing steadily. The railhead, situated at Mpakadan in the Sujaman district of the Eastern region, is expected to be completed in February 2020, while the entire railway stretch will be ready in June same year. Minister for Railway Development Joe Gatti expressed satisfaction at the progress of work by the Afcons Infrastructure Limited after he led an entourage to tour the site.
The 85-kilometer Tema Konsomo Railway had to be realigned and extended to end at Mpakadan following a feasibility study which revealed completion of work at Akonsombo would pose a threat to the dam. After a series of consultations, it was agreed to site the railhead at Mpakadan to serve as a depot for the transfer of goods between trains and other means of transport. Joe Gatti explained factors that contributed to the realignment.
As someone who in there, apart from the fact that about fake dam and so, why in there this year, this time, 2006, the terrorism doesn't even too much. But this year, terrorism are bad. And United Nations actually, there are certain places there where your power source, you have to protect it. This year, as a car, as a Kusumba, we was stop was set you. The train, we 600, we was set you. So that was another reason why we should not take it to Akosombo. There was a third reason. Sure. Mitamaka, a biara ocean railway. No, do I realize I say, how are you? It's a means to an end. It's not an end in itself. We create business around it. It's although a business can come around it. Even if you invest $1 billion in railway, it must create $4 billion worth of business.
Afcons Infrastructure Limited, in charge of the railway construction, are blasting rocks at the site to level the ground for the construction of a 1-kilometer railhead. The sector minister is optimistic completion of the railways will create jobs for the teeming youth in the catchment areas.
Yeah, but wave handkerchief. They know why they're wearing the handkerchief. Because by February, yeah, but and one handkerchief. But by February, I don't wash a powder. This whole area will transform. The water region will start transforming. Okay? I'm inviting anybody who has very high business acumen. Rumba Industrial Park. Around Japan, so that the goods even coming from water region, they will not go to Accra. Look at the traffic. You bring your goods to a park around because the line will pass through North Town, go around before it comes here because of here. So you have a very nice park, and the goods come and locate themselves there. Then train takes it to Accra. So there's so much business opportunity.
The team also visited the Tropo farms for feasibility studies following concerns construction of a railway will disrupt operations of the tilapia farms on the Volta River. Richard Diedong Dumbo is Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Railway Development Authority.
It is good we came here today because the Minister and I, having seen where we thought there was an intractable situation, there is a solution because our engineers are now saying yeah, they can do some underpass to allow for business. We've also looked at the waterways and seen it's possible for the waterways where they've got a concession, Tropofish, that they can move one step further up beyond their concession. In that case, we need to speak to the Minister of Fisheries, for that permission. But that is doable.
The Tema Mpakadan Railway, when completed, will serve as multimodal transport system to facilitate commerce to and from the Tema port. Fred Kwame Asari's report for Joy News.
Let's move on to security issues now. Investigators from the police counter-terrorism unit are tracking the shipment of some 59 AK-47 assault rifles from Accra to Walewale in the northeast region. Now, 3 men have already been arrested in a special operation carried out at Ablekuma in Sakina in the Greater Accra region, where 2 members of a highly networked syndicate said to be buying weapons and sending them to the northern part of Ghana were arrested. Fred Smith, a member of our security desk, was embedded with the police special operation squad, and here's his report.
Operations of the syndicates were discovered by the counter-terrorism police following weeks of intelligence gathering and monitoring. On Friday, August 30, the heavily armed operation squad, numbering 10, laid siege at a house at Ablekuman Sakina as some men negotiated the sale of an AK-47 assault rifle in that facility. It is one of many which have happened there. Director of Operations at the Accra Region Police, ACP Kwesifori, who spoke to Joy News after the operation, did not give further details about the syndicate, but said investigators are keeping an open mind and will follow all credible leads.
They were buying this weapon to advance their criminal activities and to cause insecurity. And therefore, the police are now investigating. Will not go further until we conclude our investigations. They are presently in custody and investigation is underway. We will put them before court soonest.
The counter-terrorism squad initially arrested 4 persons, but is currently focusing on 2 who are said to be key members of a very dangerous arms smuggling syndicate. The members of the syndicate have already bought and sent 59 AK-47 rifles to Wale Wale in the northeast region, a part of the country which has seen violent conflicts in the past, leaving many dead and properties destroyed. In June, the leader of a notorious cross-border arms smuggling syndicate, arrested by the Nigerian counter-terrorism police, confessed that they obtained their supplies from Ghana and Burkina Faso, raising concern about the extent of arms proliferation within countries in the West African sub-region.
That was Fred Smith's report. We stay on security, and the suspected Buduburam police killers have arrived in court for trial. We'll be taking you for some live updates to the court. But before that, leaders of a church in Dansuman say they are shocked by the actions of one of their members who has been named as the prime suspect linked to the killing of the 2 policemen at Gomwa Buduburam last Wednesday. Joy News is learning the prime suspect, Eric Kojodua, is the first child of the founder of the church and was raised in a staunch Christian home. The 33-year-old father and husband was arrested Saturday morning as he tried to flee to the Volta region. Maxwell Agbagba was at the church and reports.
It is Sunday morning at a Strong Living Fire Ministry International. One of the pastors here is leading the congregation to pray. Some of the members tell me conspicuously missing at church is Eric Kojodua, the prime suspect involved in the shooting of 2 policemen at Gomwa Buduburam in the central region. Mother of the suspect, Elizabeth Boatin of blessed memory, is the founder of the church. She has been buried in a corner on the church premises.
Church service just ended here at a Strong Living Fire Ministry International. Well, a lot of the prayers here have focused on how the church can grow beyond what is happening to it now. I've been speaking to the administrator of the church, Stella Brown, who says the church is shocked by the incident that happened sometime last week. She says they'll be meeting today to decide on what their next line of action will be for their member who is now on the wrong side of the law.
I don't know which words to use to describe our late mother. And as you can see, all the guys in this church are on fire for Christ. So for us to say maybe our mother didn't train him well is another side of, you understand me? Yeah. Because knowing Mama Lizzie, you can't sit there and do something that is contrary to what the Bible teaches. And she's a mother. And I know for sure that even if Eric was misbehaving at home or something, he won't spare, he's grown. So I can't say the rod, but he will talk about it.
She says the leadership of the church is still shocked by the incident and are still discussing how to extend help to the suspect.
We are very sad about the situation. It's so heavy. Our hearts are heavy. As you can see, when you came to fellowship with us, there's no joy in the house. Although as a church we should be joyful and all that, it has really weighed us down. So as leadership, we are going to meet and discuss how best the church can also help him. Since the mother was the founder of this church, we cannot leave him like that. So we want to see how best we can help him, whether to get a lawyer for him to talk to him and tell us exactly what happened. Because right now we don't even know where he is. We can't tell where he is, and nobody is telling. We were surprised because he came to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
He was here till we closed around this time. You know, he picked even some of the elders with the car, and they went. So we didn't see anything, you know, unusual about him for us to believe that he can do that.
So the suspect who killed the cops in court will be taking you there shortly. But before that, she was allegedly kidnapped in April 2019 by two men who sought refuge in her mother's home. 18-year-old Precious, not her real name, says she was sexually abused almost every day while in captivity for 4 months. But that was not all. Her captors allegedly compelled her to take concoctions to abort the pregnancy that resulted from multiple sexual assaults. She's been sharing some of the graphic details of her 4-month-long ordeal at the hands of the strangers who were given shelter by her mother.
They usually beat me with planks when they want to have sex with me.
Okay, so it means that apart from the time you woke up and you found yourself in blood, they still had sex with you subsequently?
Yes. Every day.
The pain of an 18-year-old girl kidnapped from a plow and raped multiple times by two men posing as destitute pastors on a mission from Nigeria. For 4 months, Precious, not her real name, was subjected to sexual abuse by her captors who baited her with a snack.
They asked that they wanted to eat pizza, which I also agreed that I would also like to eat the same pizza. So my mom instructed us to go and get the pizza and come back. So when we went, they gave me malt before getting to where we'll buy the pizza, and I drank it. After drinking it, I never knew what was happening anymore around me.
This is all she could remember after having the drink.
I was found in a room, naked, and I was bleeding. I got up, but I had no strength. But then they took a picture of me naked, and they showed it to me that if I eventually decide to go away or tell anybody, that they will send the picture viral.
As if that was not enough, Precious would spend the next 4 months after her capture as a sex object for the two men. The men transported her between Nigeria, Togo and Ghana, demanding ransoms from her parents to facilitate her release. After weeks of being held and abused, she got pregnant.
They find out that I was not pregnant, and those boys checked, and then they gave me a drink. It's in the form of a water, but it's bitter, and when you take it, your stomach gets very hot, and you started feeling very bad about the way your stomach feels. You're not comfortable. After all this, my dad had been going through ups and downs to make sure that I get a better treatment, but that is not what I want. What I want is that justice should be served. They shouldn't just go scot-free.
Her mother narrates how her act of kindness to offer the self-styled pastors a home opened her family up to the incident.
These two people that came to my house, the first day they came, they were smelling like people that came out from prison. The first day I saw them, I clothed them, I buy things for them, I make them feel that there is a hope again. The way they say they are pastors, I feel so bad. If I did not brought them in my house for helping them, giving them the job, taking care of them, I think my virgin daughter will remain virgin until she marries. But you see, who knows tomorrow?
Frantic searches in Ghana, Togo and Nigeria on the direction of the two men did not yield any results.
I reported immediately in Togo police station. So I told them that, oh, my daughter and some men, they went to buy pizza and they told me they are in Togo. We started searching for them in Togo. Collected phone, begged these people. Okay, please, we don't even, okay, the money, no problem, but please let us hear the voice of this girl. Not the younger brother can, you know,
recover.
I know, get okay. I beg these two people like a child. I use the name of God Almighty to beg them.
Precious sums up her experiences. As she spoke to me, tears rolled down her cheeks.
I don't like the way I'm feeling, and I don't want someone else to go through that same pain. I wish justice can be prevailed for my sake, just for one day, so that at least I can have a better life again.
According to her foster father, Dr. Missile Nunu, a collaboration with some young people in Aflao led to the rescue of a girl from a hideout.
In Akachabo, that she went and reported to the police, and the police said, okay, we need to know exactly where they are. The mother decided that he will get the area boys to assist. We used a bait, and the girl was there. As soon as they saw the boy, they dragged the girl to the room and locked the door. They just broke the door and ran out. They didn't know there was ambush. Then called in the police, and the police came for them.
Kamala Domina Ivy Setuji's report there. Now, the suspected Buduburam police killers have arrived in court. Correspondent Joseph Akable joins us live from the courts. Hello, Joseph. Do we know what charges are being preferred against these, and how many of them actually have arrived in court?
So there are actually 7 individuals who have been charged. It actually includes Eric Kojodia, who is the first accused person, the individual that the police for days mounted a search for him and eventually arrested him somewhere in the eastern region. So he is the first accused person. There is also Isaac Emisa, there is Ibrahim Zakaria, Isaac Mensa, Oblete Komi, Victor Irie, and Fatau Ahmed. Now, these 7 individuals have all been charged in connection to the death of the 2 officers, and the charges against them include murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and abetment to commit murder. And according to ASP Sylvester Sari, who is leading the state prosecution, he says investigations have just commenced and they are at such a stage where they will be required to get regular contact with the accused persons. And so they ask that they be remanded into a facility that is quite close to where the police can easily get access to them. And so he asks that the first accused persons be remanded to the BNI headquarters, while the remaining be sent to Osu, a prison facility at Osu, which we understand is under the jurisdiction of the police CID headquarters. And so that was granted by the court. Again, the judge made a point that for ease of their lawyers, that is, if they're able to contract lawyers, easily getting access to them. And so she wanted them to be sent to notable facilities, not just the case that you just say that they've been remanded into police custody. And so she indicated that the first 3 accused persons, including Eric Kojodia, be sent to the BNI headquarters, while the remaining be sent to a prison facility at Osu. The case has been adjourned to September 26, Bennett.
Joseph, which court had this case?
It is the Kanesi District Court. So that is the court hearing the case. But the court actually sits here in Accra, some kilometers away from the information ministry.
All right. And Joseph, did we hear from the suspects? Did they plea?
No, their plea was not taken because it is early days yet. In fact, it's not even at this level that it will be taken. It has to go all the way through the committal process, through to when the trial moves to the High Court, when that will actually be done. And so they have the option of pleading once they even have counsel, but that has not been asked of them at this stage.
Thank you very much, Joseph Akable, our court correspondent, giving us updates of what happened at the Kaneshie District Court earlier when 7 suspects in the killing of 2 police officers appeared. Meanwhile, relatives of one of the police officers who was gunned down by armed men in Buduburam are calling for capital punishment for the killers. Lance Corporal Mohammed Awal was the only male of his parents' 8 children, and he was laid to rest over the weekend in the Ashanti region town of Ebuakwa. He and a colleague, Sergeant Michael Jameshi, were shot and killed while they were on traffic duty last week by some armed men on board an unregistered Toyota Corolla vehicle. We'll bring you that interview with the family in subsequent bulletins. You're watching Joy News today with me, Benis Abubedulan. So when I come back, COPEC fight against government over implementation of taxes announced in supplementary budget review. We'll hear from the chamber to stay. Thank you so much for staying here. Now, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana is fighting government over the implementation of taxes announced during the supplementary budget. The tax increases, which took effect Sunday, has led to the increase of fuel prices at the pumps. In a statement, the executive director of the chamber, Duncan Amoa, expressed the move or described the move as ill-timed, ill-advised and completely insensitive. According to him, the repercussion on consumers far outweighs government's intent. He spoke to me earlier on News Desk.
When you have a system that allows a lot of oil revenue or petroleum downstream revenues to go into private individual pockets, only for the government to turn around another day to say it needs more revenue. When, like I had indicated earlier, a lot of the revenue has already been allowed to go into private pockets. Over the past 3 years, we have lost in excess of 4 billion Ghana cedis to the fuel smuggling syndicate. So on one hand, it's a lot of revenue leaking, and then the government comes with a justification it needs more revenue. So it becomes a bit untenable to the ordinary person who at this point is already choking with the high incidence of fuel taxes in Ghana. As I speak with you, we happen to be about one of the highest within the sub-region. It is not good enough for businesses. It is not good enough for the people within the country, and it also has its own negative consequences on the government itself. What government, however, fails to project is the unnecessary pressures and hardships such collections would bring to the entire economy. Mind you, those on public sector wage would soon start asking the same government to increase salaries, wages, and incomes because the take-home would not be able to take them home. So on one hand, government wants revenue. It comes to tax everybody. And then the government will use the same revenue to go and pay workers because the said taxes have now made lives unbearable. But we have not reneged on dialogue. If dialogue fails, however, we would, step up the pressure a notch higher because, as I indicated earlier, fuel prices are already overbearing for Ghanaians. And so for government to still think at this point, when it should be scaling down on these taxes rather, for government to just go ahead and increase taxes, what the government has done is one of three things. If world market prices were to go up tomorrow morning, fuel price will go up again. If the cedi was to lose value because we are getting into the December frenzy where importations are on the rise and the cedi loses ground, you are going to have to pay more. And so indirectly, the government is forcing fuel prices out of the ordinary, rich of Ghanaians. And we do not think that it is good enough. We will continue to dialogue with them for a week or two, but if we don't get any results or get any indication that government intends to do something about the crippling levels of fuel taxes, we will hit the streets in the coming days.
Away from that, founding member of the Ghana Robotics Academy Foundation, Dr. Yawo Yenchi, has called on individuals and corporate bodies to invest in technology to ensure Ghana catches up with other leading nations. According to him, though such investments are capital intensive, they inure to the benefit of the younger generation. Dr. Yenchi was speaking at a ceremony to award 50 senior high school students from across the country who study information technology some scholarships.
The dream of 50 students hoping to study information technology and artificial intelligence seems to have materialized. This follows a 34,000 cedi scholarship package Blue Cross College awarded each of them to undertake a 4-year program at the institute. The students were selected from 13 senior high schools across the country. Director of Outreach and Collaborations at Blue Cross College, Mr. Sujit Jayaprakash, says this initiative forms part of the institute's decision to invest in the youth, especially in the technology field.
Yeah, so I have already mentioned you about this presidential scholarship. National competitive examination, we went to schools in Greater Accra region, Eastern region and Volta region. Around 4,000 students appeared in an exam. So this examination is conducted by Blue Cross College in their school premises. Out of 4,000 students, we picked 120 students based on their grades. And they were called for an interview, and then we checked their VASI results as well as the national competitive exam scores, and we awarded scholarship to 30 students where they will get around 50 to 100% scholarship.
What's the intent of your organization to sink in this amount of money into developing the lives of these students?
Truth to be told, a kind of inspiration came from Free SHS, so we thought that being an institution which is here for last 9 years, we should contribute back to the society, and then as a management as a whole, we decided that we should come out with some presidential scholarships for the brilliant students but economically backward. So that's the whole idea about this.
Speaking at the ceremony, founding member of the Ghana Robotics Academy Foundation, Dr. Yao Okreku Yurinchi, urged Ghanaians and corporate bodies to invest in the technology space.
Or are you asking as a country Ghana? The answer is definitely no. For a number of reasons, I don't think I understand all of it. I'm just hoping, especially corporate Ghana will begin to see the benefits of all of these things and then wake up to supporting us, supporting this entire robots, AI, machine learning, and all of those related areas. This is the thing. The world is moving really, really fast. Nobody's going to wait for us. They will not. So it is better that we wake up to this fact, put our hands to the plow. They'll say we should put our money where our mouth is. Is that correct? Yes. We need to do that and begin to support these young kids. They are the ones.
Now, the KMA Multimedia Sanitation Enforcement Team has forced mass cleanup exercise for shop owners and traders whose environments were found to be littered with refuse. Now, these shop owners were ordered to come out of their shops and were handed brooms to clean the streets in front of their shops. Erastus Asaridonko reports.
In a city where traders display wares at unauthorized places, littering is rife, and some shop owners contribute to the mess. In the central business center of Adum, beginning from this footbridge, business operators were put to task for allowing littering under their watch. They had no option but to comply, though some resisted, insisting cleaning the streets is the duty of city authorities. These women, dress sellers along the Pizza Street, who have been dumping plastic wrappers in drains, were made to open and clean them. In the end, those who took part in the exercise were happy.
Erastus Asaridonko with that report. But coming up shortly in business here on News Today, local rice producers call on government to speed up efforts in reducing importation of rice onto the Ghanaian market.
Bring import, cheap import into the country, and you don't protect the farmers, that becomes a problem.
Details in a moment.